Our conversation was short and sweet. It nearly swept me off of my feet. And I'm back in the ring. You out on dry land. You made it there somehow. You're a big girl now. Bird on the horizon, sitting on a fence. He's singing his song for me at his own expense. And I'm just like that.
Good morning from a Saturday morning in New York. Coffee is boiling, as you can hear. The milk is frothing. I am meeting some friends in like an hour for brunch. It's 9 a.m. for a nice leisurely morning. I'm feeling good. This video is going to be sponsored by Merit, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to be talking about their new product, which is their lip blush, which also, if you're coming to the Buffy's event on Wednesday, you'll be getting a lip blush, colour of your choice. Oh, look at this. These are the coffee cups that we've got for the event as well. How cool are they? I'm so excited. But yeah, this video is sponsored by Merit, which I'm so grateful for. I'm working with them. I've been talking about them a lot recently, I know, because I'm working with them on so many different things, which is like a dream come true to be able to work with a brand who's like, they're supporting me in sort of every facet of what I do essentially. So I'm very excited to be sharing this video. I'm conscious that that coffee might be really loud, so just give me 1 second. Oh, okay. Right, I know I've been promising to talk about books and I haven't been doing it, but I'm about to. I'm doing my makeup here again. Because this is where there's some nice lighting. So first I'm going to talk through the books in the order that I read them this year, and I haven't double checked my story graph, but I am 90% sure that the first book I finished this year was Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. This is the Merit Minimalist, by the way. I think this book is an acquired taste, and I don't think it was fully my taste. It's set in, it's sort of meant to be like semi-autobiographical about Ray Bradbury's childhood. It's set in a fictional town in Illinois, but very much based on the town in Illinois that Ray Bradbury grew up in. And it follows a 12-year-old boy called Douglas Spalding who sort of at the beginning of the novel realises he's alive and has this like existential moment. And then the book almost reads like short stories set throughout this summer, as summer sort of comes to an end, and it has these quite like dreamlike qualities. It's quite surreal at points. The first mistake I made with this book was I read it between Christmas and New Year, and it is a summer book through and through. Like this is the Merit Bronze Balm and Clay. It really would have lent itself to have been read in the summer. It so evokes the feelings of summer, the smells of summer, the feelings of childhood in summer. Like I really still have strong nostalgic memories and feelings of what summer felt like when you were on your summer holidays from school, and how long time used to feel then as well. Like it really evoked that, and it made me feel nostalgic for my childhood in a way that it's quite a visceral read, but ultimately not fully to my taste. I think I felt a little bit lost in it throughout, which I think is the point as well, because he takes you on a really interesting journey of what like Douglas and his friends go through, and there's sort of lots of side stories with other characters in it, so it jumps about quite a bit as well. But yeah, I'm glad I read it. I think maybe some point in the future I would reread it in the summer, because I do think it would be a totally different reading experience, but I also didn't sort of gel with it enough to feel like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to reread this at one day in the future. I'm actually just using my phone as a mirror here, so it's a bit tricky, but we're getting there. Right, I've just put some Flush Balm on. This is in the shade Persimmon. Oh gosh, I'm gonna drop it on the floor. The second book that I finished this year was Horse Heaven by Jane Smiley. I also don't have my copy here. My first ever Jane Smiley, and I loved it. It was so enjoyable, real, like so many characters, really character driven. She spends a lot of time with all the characters with you, so you get so into them all. As you know, I'm having quite a horsey time. I'm really enjoying reading about horses at the moment, and Horse Heaven is, as the name suggests, about horses. It's set on the racetracks in America. There's no one central character. The standout is a Jack Russell called Eileen, who, like, she wrote this dog as a character so well. There's chapters where you're inside the horse's point of view as well. So yeah, the horses feel like a character. There's like the horse owners, the super wealthy owners. There's their wives, there's the horse trainers, there's the jockeys. There's so many different characters. And it kind of just sort of like, just nicely plods along. There's no huge twists and turns. You just feel very in the characters' minds and with them, and I really believed in all of them and felt connected to all of them in a way that then you're quite happy as a reader for not very much to be happening. I just was like happy to spend the day-to-day with them, and I am just consistently finding it really interesting to read about horses. I don't know what it is. It's appealing to me about horses at the moment, but there's something personal going on there. It is the year of the horse as well, so maybe it's that. I'm going to use the shade. I want the shade Archival. I know the shade that I want to wear today. This is the new Merit Lip Blush. Actually, maybe I'll do this one. This is the shade in Vendome. So it's their signature lip stick that you may have already had, and they've brought them out. No, I really do want... I want Archival. It'll be in a handbag somewhere because I've been using it so much. They're like a really light lipstick, basically. They go on really easily. They're very different in texture to the lip oils, which I also have here as well. These are sort of more glossy, whereas these are matte. Here we go. But just very sheer and easy to apply, and all in blush shades. So you'll definitely find one that works for you. So this one is Archival. So you can see they're not like super pigmented, but it's really nice. And especially, as I keep saying, when I'm so pale, I'm trying to like make the most of being pale and just make my features pop a little bit. Maybe I'll pop this on the top since it's here. This is one of their tinted lip oils in Pointel. I think the thing about Merit that they do so well with all their products is that they're just so wearable and so easy to use and mix and match, because all the colours are so neutral for the most part. It just feels like such a like effortless way of doing makeup as well, which I really, really love. So yeah, that was the lip blush in Archival, and then the lip oil on top in Pointel. It's nice, it's just sort of like a blush pink. Anyway, Jane Smiley, Horse Heaven. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to read more Jane Smiley. I think I'm going to do 1,000 Acres next. I don't know where my copy of it is gone. This is the copy that I got of Moo. Great cover, and the 1,000 Acres is a similar edition to this, but I don't know where I've put it. Anyway, I'll find that at some point. I'm going to go meet a friend for brunch now, and then we shall continue talking about books. I'm just going to do this as I'm vlogging, basically. Just walked past a girl who was walking with her friend, and she went, "My hangover's setting in." And in the smug way where I'm not hungover today, I thought, rather you than me, love. That is horrible when that hits you at 11 prime time as well, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just walking to brunch now. I'm very hungry, so I'm very excited, and it's like a mild day. It's going to be 6 degrees, which feels tropical in comparison to how it has been. There's still snow everywhere though. Okay, errands have been run. Wes needs to go do a bit of a food shop for something for dinner tonight, but I picked up a lot of books for the Merit event from a bookshop. I got picked up my mum's birthday present. She wanted an Apple Watch, so I went and got that. It's her birthday next month. And I saw my agent for brunch, which was so nice. When I was in the bookshop, I saw a girl wearing some really cool shoes, and she was on the phone, so I couldn't ask her where they were from. So I did the really normal thing and sneakily took a photo of them, and then have worked out online that they're from Meester. And there is a Meester shop literally around the corner from where I live. This is like one of the most amazing things about New York. Everything tends to be so close. So I'm going to go and look at them. I'm going to go try them on. because she looked so good in them, and they're unlike any other shoe I've got, so we're going to go do that. And then I'm going to go do a food shop, and then I'm probably just going to stay in for the rest of the day. I have on a very cool coat from a brand called Rubato. Is this called a fireman's coat where it's got this? Anyway, I love it. This scarf is old from Cos, and we've put a bit more lipstick on, same shade. Sunglasses are J. Crew, some of my all-time favourite sunglasses. And I have on my salmon enamel shoes. I'll show you. Here I am. St. Agni trousers, salmon enamel shoes. I'm going to take my row bag. There it is. And let's go try some shoes on. Bit of Saturday shopping. Feels really nice actually, and indulgent, but lovely. Let's go do that. This coat great. Loving this outfit actually. Let's talk about one more book before we go out actually. The next book I finished was Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. So I read 3 Virginia Woolf books kind of at once for the Royal Ballet and Opera event. I read Mrs. Dalloway, Orlando and The Waves. I found The Waves the hardest, I found Orlando the most enjoyable and the most accessible, I would say, but I found them all very challenging. And it was definitely one of those reading experiences where having to read it for an event that I was hosting and having to be able to talk about it, I was going to say confidently, but I wouldn't go that far, but be able to talk about it meant that I really pushed myself in a way that if I just sort of picked the books up, not for that, I would have found it much easier to truly give up on them. I found it really challenging, but also was so rewarded of being in the world of Virginia Woolf. I feel like I've talked a lot about this online already throughout last month, so I won't talk about it too much, but the 3 different novels. So Mrs. Dalloway is about a British woman who is 52, I think, 51 or 52, set in England, in London, in the late 1920s. I'm getting them all mixed up in my head now of what date was what and when they were all written. Maybe early 1920s actually. Yeah, it is. And she basically is hosting a party. So she's kind of a upper class woman in London, and her husband's a politician, and she's hosting a party that evening, and it follows her in a day through London. So it starts with her announcing that Mrs. Dalloway said she would go and get the flowers herself. And she walks through London, and as she's walking through London, she sort of notices different things happening. And in doing so, there'll be a moment, say, that's happening on the street, like a car going by, and she will notice it, and you're in her thoughts, it's stream of consciousness. You're with Mrs. Dalloway and her thoughts. And then suddenly someone over the road, seemingly unrelated to Mrs. Dalloway at first, will see the same car, observe the same moment, and you go from her mind to their mind. The person that I'm referring to is a character called Septimus Smith, who had what would then have been called shell shock, but PTSD from the war, and is hallucinating. He's really, really unwell. And he is in London with his wife, who they're trying to see a different psychiatrist. And it was really Woolf was criticising the way that mental illness was treated then. And she suffered with, I don't know whether it is officially known to be bipolar, but from what I've read, it feels like what nowadays we would diagnose as bipolar. I don't know what the language would have been actually when Virginia Woolf was alive, but she had lots of manic episodes, and she attempted to take her life numerous times, and eventually did take her own life, which I think it was her 5th attempt at doing so. So she really, she suffered at points, but I think also had stretches of being quite well, and obviously was really prolific in what she did. So yeah, she was sort of making a really critical commentary on how mental health was treated. So that's Mrs. Dalloway. And then Orlando is Orlando is actually amazing, and there's a great film with Tilda Swinton in it. So in Orlando, you start in Elizabethan England. With Orlando, it's a man who kind of Queen Elizabeth takes a bit of a fancy to. And you sort of quickly realise that Orlando, the character, is living for many, many years. Some of the opening scenes is this beautiful bit about the Great Frost in London, a frost fair, which was actually a thing because the Thames used to freeze, which I didn't know. The Thames used to freeze, and they used to have fairs and sort of market stalls and events, as it were, on the River Thames on the ice. which Virginia Woolf wouldn't have lived through one of those. She was sort of born later than when the Thames was freezing over like that. But there's a great frost, and Orlando's there and is due to be married, and then sees this beautiful Russian princess called Sasha, who he falls in love with, and he has all these sort of different phases of his life, but is always aristocracy, incredibly wealthy, has a house which has 365 rooms, I think, and ends up being sent to Constantinople as an ambassador, essentially, and while there, falls into a deep, long sleep, which is something that has happened before in Orlando's life. And when Orlando wakes up, he is no longer a man, but is a woman, and then returns to England. And sort of, that's not even halfway through the book. It's a bit earlier on than halfway, I think. But the rest of the book is then Orlando's life as a woman. And there's incredible commentary about gender. It's so good. And then, continues to live up into the 1920s, I think it goes into. So lives over 300 years in total, and the whole time is also writing this sort of magnum opus. It's meant to be this poem, and that one had the most story of all of the books that I read. And then the third one with the least story was The Waves, which follows 6 friends. It's a series of soliloquies. It follows 6 friends from childhood to old age, and it's solely their thoughts. You're just in their thoughts. It will say, like, Bernard says, and then go on to his section. He's one of the characters, but there's no speech in it. It's all just thoughts. And I found that one so challenging. It is very dense. I found it very abstract. I think I need, like I was saying about Dandelion Wine, I actually think I need something to sort of root me a little bit more in a plot and in a story than The Waves did. And so it was incredibly challenging. But there is sentence after sentence after sentence. I cannot believe that a person wrote. Like, it is so beautiful. It doesn't feel overwrought at any point either, despite it being so hard to read. It is just like unbelievable talent for writing. It's incredible. And that one took me the longest to get through, and I had to sit with the most. And I hope at some point in my life I want to revisit Virginia Woolf. For now, I'm glad for a bit of a break. But it was a challenge, but a rewarding one. So that was sort of like 3 books in one. Anyway, let's go to the shops. Hello everybody. Gosh, I look quite dishevelled, don't I? I need to wash my hair. The shoe shop was closed, so that wasn't meant to be. So I just did food shopping instead, and I've just eaten a bowl full of carrots, as one does, because I was craving a carrot, which probably has happened like twice in my entire life. And so I thought, you know what, I must strike while the iron's hot. If I'm craving a carrot, I should eat a carrot, because when does anybody in their right mind crave a carrot? So I've just eaten a lot of carrot, and I did like a top-up food shop, so quite a boring one. But I'm going to show you what I've got, and then I'm going to run a bath, and I'm going to have a bit of a pampering evening. I'm tempted to go get my nails done, but I can't decide if I could be bothered going downstairs again. Living up lots of stairs really does make you question how much do you want something that's on the outside world. But I haven't had my nails done in over a year, I don't think. Oh no, a bit last summer. So they're in need. Anyway, the most important thing that I bought at the shop, because I never find these, was the Fruit Riot sour grapes. I've had the mango one. I just tried one earlier, but it was a bit defrosted, so it was a bit soft. Whereas I think they are meant to be quite rock solid. No, it needs a bit, it's too squishy. I'm going to give it a bit longer to actually really freeze before I enjoy one of those. And yeah, if I don't get my nails done, I'm going to sit and read, have a bath. But I it's not even 5 yet, so I actually have time to do everything. Anyway, I'm going to make a miso sweet potato recipe that I found online. I follow this Substack called Good Mood Food, and I really like the recipes she does. This was one of them. So I've got 2 sweet potatoes. I've got some more raspberries, the elite berry. I need to go into that again. Some spring onions, scallions if you're here. 2 lemons. And 3 bananas for very bruised banana. Oopsie. for breakfast bits, some ginger for my recipe as well and for tea, and whopping garlic bulb. Look at that. It's that bag. Then this bag. Oh, this is such a boring shop. So I've eaten the carrots that I got. I got some sugar snap peas. These are so good to snack on if you want to like get some extra greens in you. An avocado, also for breakfast purposes. Some sweet miso paste for the sweet potato recipe. Some feta for the recipe. And 3 very lovely, delicious looking pink lady apples. I'm going to have one of these now with some peanut butter. And now I'm craving that. I'll just save these somewhere. So that's me. Gonna do those things I just said. So this is a very small number of the books we have for the Merit event. This is the order I picked up today, and I'm just going through it and cross-referencing it from the order to make sure that everything is here. And it's like a selection of things I've read recently. It actually has Dandelion Wine, a really nice edition of it here. Things I've read recently, or things that I've read a while ago and absolutely loved. And more or less all of the books that we've read for book club are not in this order. I ordered from a few different independent bookshops around New York. So this is about 50 books, but in total I think I ordered 150. And the other 100 are at Merit's office. But I'm going to show you what we've got here.
Yesterday, any way you made it was just fine. So you turned your days into nighttime. Didn't you know you can't make it without ever even trying? And something's on your mind, isn't it? Let these times show you that you're breaking up your mind, leaving all your dreams too far behind. Didn't you see? You can't make it without ever even trying. And something's on your mind. Maybe another day you'll wanna feel another way. You can't stop crying. You haven't got a thing to say. You feel you wanna run away. There's no use trying anyway. I've seen the writing on the wall. Who cannot maintain will always fall. Will you know you can't make it without ever even trying? Something's on your mind, isn't it? Tell the truth now, isn't it? Something's on your mind. Something's on your
Okay, just heading out to meet a friend for some drinks. I've been wearing this Rohe coat. Oh, not the ones I was looking for. Why is it I leave stuff? Because why do I have a pair of sunglasses loose in a pocket? Still not the ones I'm after. I'm wearing this Rubato Coat to death because it is very chic, very long, very warm, and is a good, slightly more evening coat. It's gorgeous. It's from a few seasons ago, annoyingly, but it's great. Navy grey knit, black knit, Dagmar jeans, Dear Francis boots, long ones, and then I'm going to use this lipstick, Framboise, which is another one of the Merit lip blushes. Excuse this wet bit of fringe. That's how I have to style my fringe. Just wet it down and go. This one is, none of them are as pigmented as they look, but in a good way. Like, you can really build them up if you wanted to, but also if you prefer a more natural look, that is what you're getting. Okay, we see this dry, and then I'm going to Greenpoint to a bar called El Pinguino, which I've just been looking at online, and I can't work out if I've been there before or not. Because if I have, I remember it was like the last stop at a night out years ago, and I was really drunk. But it's got that familiarity to it. You know, you look at the pictures of something like, oh, is that place that I went to that time that I was drunk? Anyway, no plans to get really drunk tonight, just to have a few beers, I think, and socialise, which I'm feeling good about. I went into Meester, but they didn't have the shoes in my size, so that was like a double whammy, because yesterday were closed, today not my size, so that wasn't meant to be. And then I just ran some other errands in Soho, came back. I've been reading The Door by Magda Szabo. Actually, also, let me show you this that I bought. It's from Lalette. I ordered it online. I need to sit down, I can't crouch for this long. I ordered it online, and I really like it because it was quite expensive, but I justified it to myself because I wear my claw clips all the time, and I love wearing my hair up, especially in the summer, and I wanted something a bit fancier. So you just twist your hair into a bun and then stab it through the bun. Hopefully this looks good. How is that? And then just pull some bits out at the side. Really need a fringe trim. I'm getting an Uber to where I'm meeting everyone. It's 40 minutes on the train or 15 minutes in a car, so I'm just going to get an Uber. So this little section should have time to dry. Not sort of the best time to show you a new hair accessory, is it, when with a wet fringe, but it also really, like, it's secure. It feels really in there. Oh. So, sorry, I should not be kneeling down. This is it. I think pretty chic. I'm going to take my row bag because it's got all my stuff in it. And this is the kind of outfit. It's all I've got to offer right now, I'm afraid. Just going to show, cross spot. Just going to show you that lipstick in the light. It's like 5, so the light is going, but it's that one's slightly pinkier, like a pinky red, I would describe it as. But it's really, really, really nice. I've not got any earrings in. Let's go put some earrings in.
All the behind the scenes.
You getting the bag? Yeah. Well, I'm getting a box of it. Yes, let's open these. And basically, you can do 2 shades per person.
Guys, we are at the venue for the Merit event, and it's the evening. I'm going to show you this again in the morning, but this is the shop area. This is all the new signature lip like this. I am getting there. I'm excited to show you all what it looks like in the morning compared to now. We've just finished doing all the gift bags together. And yeah, we have the whole space for tomorrow.
Good morning, everybody. I am doing some gua sha, which I'm not very good at, so no one comment on how I'm doing it while talking to you, because it is about 20 minutes until I need to set off to the Merit event. And I feel like I'm not going to get through today without a cry. I feel so, like a good cry, I mean, like emotional and quite overwhelmed with this event. And we went last night to, well, as you saw, and seeing how many people were there and just how big it looks was so overwhelming in a really positive way, in a really exciting way. But I can't quite believe that this event's happening, and Merit have been the most incredible and supportive team to work with. They've just been incredible. Every idea of how it's been a yes from them, and not just a yes, but like yes, and then how could we do this? So today's just going to be amazing. I can't wait to get there and show you. I don't know what to wear typically. I'm wearing shirt and trousers. I always wear shirt and trousers to Buffy's because they have to be really comfortable. And I'm on my feet loads and I'm moving around loads. And also I like to wear, you know, some outfits when you look in the mirror and like from one angle you're like great, and then you move slightly and you're like not so great. I need outfits which are sort of great from every angle, because we're doing video content, so that, you know, you just don't have as much control over how I want to pose in a photo basically. So I normally wear a baggy shirt and trousers. This one's by Malene, and I love it, but I can never decide if I like myself in light colours when I'm at my palest. So I might change to a navy cos one. But yeah, oh my gosh, that's nice. Seeing when we went last night, it's got like Merit and Buffy's on the windows of Gem, and I love Gem, and I can't believe that my Buffy's name is on the window somewhere in New York. It just feels insane, and I'm so excited. There's going to be so many people here today. Did I just dip my sleeve in the coffee? No, that would have made my decision for me if I had. There's going to be so many people there today. It's the biggest event we've done, and I just can't believe it. I can't wait to show you everything that's there. I'm so aware that this vlog is going to be very long at this point as well, but some of you did say that an hour one was fine, and this is going to be the last vlog for me in a while because I've got my knee operation on Monday. I'm going to stop talking because there's noises out there which I think will be really noisy, so let's get ready. Sorry, there's building work happening outside and it's not stopping, so I think it's going to be noisy. But I've gone with the navy blue cos one. 2 reasons. One, I want to wait for a tan for the other one, and I also think I might get quite sweaty because I'm going to be moving around so much. And that light off-white shade, as we all know how that goes with the sweat patches, so this is a bit more of a sweaty safe shirt. And then I've got my 2 necklaces on, unlike me. Lindsay bought me this one in the Maldives. This is from Ruth Leslie. These cream trousers are from Amamento, and then my salmon enamel shoes, because like I said, I'm going to be on my feet all day, so comfort's non-negotiable. And I've just done my makeup with All Merit. I've got an unruly fringe. Shush outside, it's so noisy. Unruly fringe that I need to sort out, and then we're going. I'm excited. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah. Okay. The sweets. Oh my god, I hadn't seen them unveiled yet.
I know. It was a little shy before.
It was
just shy. It's keeping its coat on.
I've never had bonbon, you know.
Oh, one of my New Year's resolutions is I want to read 8 books. Just about every 6 weeks.
So WW Norton sent us loads of books. We did a mix of, Merit gave me budget to buy books. I think I bought like 250 books for this. And then WW Norton sent us over 200 books. So these are some of their titles, which are then, we've got these tables set up here for the book swap itself. It smells so good in here. And I mean, we're still working through. These are the goodie bags. Everyone gets one of Merit's really great makeup bags and 2 lipsticks. This is insane, isn't it? So beautiful. And what says this? Oh, sorry, hello. This. Sorry.
Thank you so much. You're so
We have 2 more tables to swap here, all here, and then Rebecca playing by Alfred Hitchcock, a sweet stand. It's all coming together, games everywhere.
We like Edgar. Oh, there were some very strange men around. We were like, well, what is that? Not really. You could fit more in here actually now. Now we've got chairs.
sorry. I don't think you I did, but I think someone grabbed it, so amazing.
No, it's like orange. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Hello guys, just got in from the evening portion of the event. I haven't really had any chance to check in today. It was amazing, it was so good. The daytime bit was like Buffy's community for the book swap, and then the evening wasn't a book swap, it was just drinks and like merits, invite list, some of my friends. Oh God, it was so good. I don't think I've had a chance to sort of soak it all up yet. I can't wait to see the video and the content and the photos from things. But it was just so special. Everybody all day was so engaged with the books, and that really is the most important thing about these events, that people are talking about books and getting great recommendations. I've got loads that I've brought home that people left that I can't wait to look through, and yeah, I just feel so grateful. I feel so grateful to Merit, who've also sponsored this video, who, like I said at the beginning, have just supported me so much, and they've been so good to work with, and they've worked so hard with me on bringing this to life. And yeah, they've just they've gotten so stuck in today. I'm just so grateful for it. I'm so grateful to everybody who comes to Buffy's and keeps supporting. I hope this is the first of many much bigger events that we can do. And I just I just overwhelmed with sort of gratitude for it all, of what actually is happening with it. I mean, it's so exciting. I'm just like a whole new lease of life for my career and for me, and I'm so fulfilled by it, and it really wouldn't be possible without all of you. So thank you so much. Thank you to Merit again. I hope you've enjoyed this incredibly long video, because I know this is a monstrously long one, but a few of you did comment that you wanted a long one, and there's been lots of books bits in it too, which I hope you've really enjoyed. And I hope to meet you all very soon at the next Buffy's event, and thank you so much. I'll be back vlogging in, I'm not sure when, like maybe a month, I don't really know. Operation on Monday, it's Thursday night, no, it's Wednesday night right now. So yeah, it's approaching, but I will update you all on like how that goes as and when I can, and it's all going to be fine, it's all going to be good news. But yeah, thank you so much everybody, and I will see you all very soon. Good morning everybody. I know I said goodbye yesterday. Good morning everybody. It's Thursday morning. I know I signed this vlog off yesterday, but I'm editing it now, and I have a almost half an hour segment talking about the other books that I've read this year that I was going to put in the middle of the video, but I think it's too long to have in the middle of the video. So even though I just said goodbye to you, I am reappearing, and I'm going to put that segment in now. And then at the end of that segment, I'm not going to say goodbye because I've already filmed it and I didn't say goodbye, so it's just going to end. So this is your second goodbye and future me explaining why this has been edited this way. But I think for continuity, it's too much to sit. I'm just adding it in now. it's just taken this vlog to over an hour. So even if you're at this point and you're buckling up for the next half hour, thank you very much. But yeah, it's too much to put in the middle, but it's here at the end, coming now for those of you who are interested in what I've been reading this year. And thank you again, and goodbye for the second time. Right, I'm here to talk about the rest of the books I've read this year. I'm just going to do them all in one go now because I am losing track of myself. And there's still quite a few. I've been reading a lot. I've been on a roll. So I read Train Dreams by Dennis Johnson. It's a very short book. It's a novella, sort of, actually don't know how many pages it is, just over 100 pages, around 100 pages. And I read that in between all the Virginia Woolf books to try and also have a bit of a break from Virginia Woolf at points. It's one of his later novels. He wrote it not long before he died, 5 or 6 years before he died maybe. And lots of people are talking about it at the moment because a film has just come out, which I haven't watched but would like to watch. The story follows Robert Granier, who is a logger. Is that the right word for someone who cuts down trees? You know when you say a word and it feels like you've just made up a word? Working on building railways in America. Sort of set in the early 1900s. I think maybe it starts at the very late 1800s to early 1900s. Very much about the death of the American frontier. And he experiences a tragic loss in his life. And a lot of the novel then follows him sort of on a physical journey around the area where he had lived in America, and an emotional journey as he sort of grieves what he has lost. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable how much he packs into so few pages. You can really read it in an afternoon, and I recommend you sitting down and reading it cover to cover. Like I said, it's 100 pages, so it's doable. And I think actually the shortness of it really lends itself to how much Dennis Johnson manages to get across, but without over-labouring anything. And yeah, it's at once very readable, it's at once quite sparse, it's at once quite rich. He sort of manages to hold all of these tensions between lots of different feelings that come up in the book, and overall it just feels like a very emotional, deep read. And I loved it, and I would like to watch the film at some point. But the next thing I read was Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy. I loved this book. It's definitely one of the best books I've read so far this year. I haven't read any Arundhati Roy. I really want to read The God of Small Things, especially after having read this now. This is her memoir, which is very much dedicated to her late mother, who died quite recently, who was called Mary Roy. And she was a formidable woman, for sure. She was an educator, she ran a school in India, and she was also a women's rights activist. And she had a bill passed through the Supreme Court that challenged the inheritance laws in India, which traditionally property had been inherited by the sons of the family, and she campaigned and won for it to be inherited 50-50 between daughters and sons and family, and which caused a lot of disrupt in her own family because she had a brother, and it was specifically around a family home as well. So she was an incredible woman. I was going to say character, but she was a real person, but as reading her on a page, she is so rich as a person, as a life. She's quite a volatile woman, that it reads character-like, which I mean as a compliment. I don't mean that sort of Arundhati Roy makes it seem unbelievable at all, but it is just, there's just so much that has gone into their lives, and the way that she writes their relationship, the mother-daughter relationship, which was very problematic at points. I could go as far to say definitely emotionally abusive. The way she writes it is just so honest, and she manages to have, how do I say it? To say this is a memoir, she manages to have some distance from it, of the way that she is telling the relationship, which, like I said, is abusive at points. It's quite emotional at points, but while also putting across her feelings towards her mother in a way that seems so just well balanced. Like reading it, I'm like, this is one well-adjusted woman who is writing about her life. And alongside that, there's so much history about India, so little of which I knew about. And again, she really manages to set sort of the political scene, the cultural scene, the religious scene. Throughout her life, she was very active in politics. She even went to prison at one point in relation to her political activism. And she manages to fit so much history of this vast, unbelievable country. I've never been to India, I would love to go, in a way that also there's the perfect amount of sort of context, emotional parts of her relationship with her mum, focus on her mum's trajectory and also her own life, her own career, and it follows her through growing up in India, her travels, her studies, her fame eventually when The God of Small Things won the Booker Prize in the late 90s. You know, she was famous in India and obviously still is. Her marriage, she is a stepmother, so her relationship with her stepchildren. There's so much, and all of it feels really perfectly balanced, how she writes about it all. And I think that's kind of sometimes quite hard to do in a memoir. And I loved it. I recommend it so much. I definitely want to read more Arundhati Roy. And I believe The God of Small Things is probably the place to start with that. I think it was definitely her most famous book. So yeah, it came out last year, Mother Mary Comes to Me, so still in hardback, but I recommend getting it. It was so beautiful. Then after that, there was 2 great books. I had a bit of a dud read. I read The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks, which I had read for the first time maybe like 12 or 13 years ago, absolutely ages ago. And it's a very memorable book. And I had a calling within me to revisit this book. I haven't read any other Ian Banks. This was his debut. It came out in 1984. I had to check my notes for that. And it is set in Scotland, on a remote island in Scotland, and it follows the main character Frank, who is oh wow, gosh, how old is he? He's a boy. Oh God, I really should have written that down. I don't think he's a teenager yet. I think he's like just about to be, just prepubescent basically, who is a psychopath and is going about his little psychopathic ways. The opening line on the blurb, it says that he's already killed some people, and it says that was just a phase. And Banks' style throughout it kind of has these little quips, and Frank as a character, I think at points is meant to be funny. I really, really disliked this book on a reread. I understand why I remembered it so well. There's a twist-ish towards the end, which I didn't fully remember, but very early on in the book was like, oh, I remember that twist now. Which isn't fair of me to say that it felt obvious, but on rereading it did feel obvious, but of course I already knew it. That's not fully fair to say, but it didn't feel like a sort of, just the whole book feels so predictable, I think. And also like somebody writing the psychopath just for the sake of writing a psychopath. If it's sort of not comparable style-wise, but the way that I think Cormac McCarthy, for instance, writes psychopathic characters like Judge Holden in The Blood Meridian and Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men, there's like a mystery around them. It's not obvious. There's just a sort of sinister feeling. And while these are characters in Cormac McCarthy's books that are committing crimes and they're killing people left, right and centre, don't get me wrong, it's not like they're doing good things. He holds something back the whole time, which adds to how sinister it is. Whereas writing Frank's character, Ian Banks doesn't really hold anything back. It feels like he's sort of taking on everything that you would need to read about a boy to believe that he was a psychopath. And his brother, Frank's brother Eric, has been institutionalized, you learn really early on in the book. And he's sort of this manic character alongside Frank's psychotic ways, and all of it just after a while felt so heavy-handed. And to say it is written to be a page turner, and there is a twist and there is momentum behind the plot, I found it so easy to put down and was just quite bored with it. So that reread fell flat for me. Sorry if the angle has changed a little bit. My door just went and it rings on my phone, so I had to answer that, but we're back. And the next book that I read was for book club, which was Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton, she was the first woman to win the Pulitzer Prize, written in 1920, set in the 1870s in New York. It's a society novel based on a love triangle. The main character, whose name, Newland Archer, that's his name, his first name completely left my brain then, Newland Archer, who is getting married to May, who is sort of the perfect virginal society woman from a very well-to-do family in New York. And he has his head turned by divorcee Eleanor Lenska, who is not American and has arrived in New York, back in New York, and is sort of being taken in by May's family, and Newland Archer sort of becomes quite enamored with her. And there's some autobiographical elements in it. I was reading a lot about Edith Wharton, who was fascinating. She did so much humanitarian work during the war, and she was divorced herself. Her husband was bipolar, ex-husband was bipolar, an alcoholic, swindled her out of lots of money, and she left that marriage for better to sort of preserve her own happiness. And each of the main characters in The Age of Innocence are meant to embody a part of Wharton in her own life. And Wharton was from a very sort of high society family in New York as well. So she's really sort of criticising how stiff and all of the real pointless etiquette that they're all driven by. Nobody's saying what they feel ever, and everybody's so just obsessed with being decent and never being uncomfortable. And so she's criticising that a lot, and she uses the character of Ellen to sort of be the person that's rubbing up against all of the very stiff upper lip, even though that's more of a British thing, all the stiff upper lip characters. And it's such an enjoyable read. The film is really beautiful too. I really enjoyed watching that, which is a Scorsese film, so I recommend that. And then I read, finally onto ones I have with me, Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Okay, next was Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first in the Farseer trilogy. Fantasy ultimately is not my favourite genre. In the world of speculative fiction, I much prefer reading horror and sci-fi than fantasy. I did really enjoy this, but I know how beloved this series is and people absolutely love it. And I just always have a slight disconnect with fantasy. I would love to read the next two in this trilogy, and at some point we'll get around to it, but it doesn't have the effect on me where I put it down and instantly I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to carry on to know what happens next. There's just some sort of disconnect there for me, which I think is entirely personal taste. But this follows a child called Fitz, who is born out of wedlock. He's a bastard child of the crown prince of the Six Duchies, so the man who is set to be king, who him and his partner, his wife, aren't able to have children. He has an affair, which is seen as a very out of character thing for him to have done, and this woman gets pregnant, and Fitz is the result of that pregnancy. He's the child. But he can't inherit the throne, he can't become king because he is a bastard child. And on the back of that, his dad steps out of he abdicates from his role and from inheriting the throne. So it creates all of this hullabaloo and all this hoo-ha and much fuss. And Fitz ends up being trained to be an assassin's apprentice. He ends up being trained in the skill, which is this sort of magic sense and a way of communicating and a way of seeing into other people's minds. And he ends up being trained in this because it is also part of his family legacy that people within his family have the skill and can operate the skill, even though it's becoming something that's less done. And he also has this affinity with animals. I really like the way that animals were written in this book, actually. I think Robin Hobb did a real nice, they're sort of pets. She wrote pets very well. And then they're not meant to be pets in the way that we have pets nowadays. He's not meant to be this close to the animals, but I really enjoyed those relationships of him with the horses and the dogs and things. And it's really readable. It is really well written. I really can understand why it's so well loved. The disconnect is solely down to my personal taste. I think that there's something with fantasy that doesn't fully click for me. So yeah, at some point maybe I'll get around to the next two, but it's not high up on my list. Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor. This was, I don't even know how to talk about this book if I'm honest. It was unbelievable. I was just reading a little bit about it online, and a few different people comparing it to The Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, which was one of my favourite books of last year. And I can see that comparison in its relentless brutality. It is set in a fictional town in Mexico, opening with these men finding the body of the witch, who is a figure in the town who sort of lives in a secluded place in this sort of really creepy house. And you initially start with learning about the witch and her mother, the witch that whose body we find sort of inherited this status of the witch from her mother. Who sat in this sort of eerie house with all of this mystique and rumours swarming around her, and women of the town would go and talk to her every week, and she was almost like an agony aunt to the women of the town essentially. But also everyone was a little bit wary of her and would go to her to tell her their sort of darkest secrets and offload things, because she was seen as such an outsider as well. And the witch is the central character in that we then are introduced to all of these other characters in the town and how they relate to the witch. Some are neighbours, some are spending a lot of time in the house with the witch, and it is, like I said, I don't know how to talk about this book. It is unbelievably violent and brutal. The prose is incredible. It's brutal as well. This is why I can see the similarity between the Blood Meridian. She writes one sentence which could be 3 pages long, if not longer, which I think in itself, when you're reading something that's also very heavy, you're reading it and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get my breath because this sentence isn't ending, and I'm being like really immersed in incredibly dark subject matters. There's lots of like sexual abuse in this book, physical abuse. It comes with every trigger warning that I could think to put on it, but I am so incredibly glad that I read it. It was honestly incredible. I think she, in the way that so often books like this, even you should compare it with The Wasp Factory, can become very sort of gratuitous and just sort of violent for the sake of violence, or deliberately making it as hard as possible for the reader to read just for the sake of it. This doesn't have that feeling, which again is what I think Cormac McCarthy can do so well. It walks this line of you become eventually desensitized to what's happening, that I think it puts you as the reader in this really uncomfortable position that you're reading really, really difficult things happening to the characters. And often the characters' own understanding of what's happening to them is really flawed, is very complex, is in itself very difficult to read. And I think by doing that, Melchor puts the reader in this real difficult position, which she doesn't achieve just by throwing lots of really, really graphic, difficult things to read at you. She makes you work harder than that to try and just endure what she's writing, and I think it has a great effect. Like I said, the prose is beautiful. It's quite lyrical at points. It's really rich, readable at the same time though, and because of the long sentences, it took me a minute to get into it, because you're straight in there as well. It took me a minute to get into it, but then once I was in it, I was in it. I mean, like this, this double page spread, that is all one sentence. There's no full stop on that page. So it took me a second to get my head around that, but then once you're in it, you are in it, and you feel like you kind of can't come up for air. So yeah, I would read a little bit about it first, and decide whether or not you feel like you want to read something as heavy as this. But if you do, it isn't going to be enjoyable, but I think it is up there with one of the most powerful books I've ever read. And I think that she has executed what she is doing in this book perfectly. So yeah, it is likened to Roberto Bolaño's 2666, which I haven't read and is very much also on my list. And yeah, I do recommend it, but it comes with lots of heavy trigger warnings, that one. From there, I finished listening to The Stranger Times by Ciamh, C-A-I-M-H, Irish name, Ciamh. I think that's how you would say that, McDonald. I listened to the audiobook, so fun, so silly, was exactly actually what I needed. The guy who reads the audiobook does so many accents and he's so good at them that I was like enthralled in it. It was so fun. Set in Manchester, which I also loved. It's about this newspaper called The Stranger Times that report on the sort of weird and the fantastical. And Hannah, the main character, the protagonist, is looking for a job, and she ends up getting a job at The Stranger Times, and then all of these weird and wonderful things unfold. It's silly, it's funny, it deliberately is funny, it's trying to be funny, and it successfully is funny. I really recommend listening to it. I enjoyed it so much, and there's a series of them as well, which I would definitely delve into, but in audiobook, I don't think I would bother actually reading the book. Next, we have All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. This is the first book in the Border trilogy, and it is one of his earlier books, I believe, much earlier than The Blood Meridian. When was it written? 1992, and it follows John Grady Cole, who is in Texas. Most of Cormac McCarthy's books were sitting on the Mexico-Texas border, and he is comes from a family of Texas ranchers, and the ranch is being sold, and so he decides that he wants to cross the border to Mexico and just basically have a little bit of an adventure. It is nowhere near as violent as the other Cormac McCarthy books that I've read. I've read The Road, I've read No Country for Old Men, and I've read The Blood Meridian. Have I mentioned that I've read The Blood Meridian by any chance? I don't know if I've said that yet. It's nowhere near as violent as that, but it has all of the beauty of Cormac McCarthy novel in it. I love his writing so much. It is less sort of pacey than those ones as well. And there are points where I felt like I had to make more effort to stay engaged with it. Whereas the other ones, despite the sparseness, there's like a sparse way that McCarthy writes, which I really enjoy. Despite that, you're in it with him. Like the pacing of it is just, he's taking you there, and there's so much violence, and every minute someone else is being killed. And now it's just, it's all happening at once. This doesn't have that feeling. It's way more slow paced. There is very much an actual physical journey taking place as well, and Grady spends time in different Mexican towns, and there is a bit of a love story in there. But yeah, there's plot-wise a lot less to be said of it than other McCarthy books, but I think that lends to the beauty of it, and it lends to just sitting with the way that McCarthy writes, which for me is really evocative. You guys know I'm having a time with Westerns at the moment. I'm enjoying them so much. I'm enjoying reading about that part of the world. I love the way that the landscape is written. I love sorry, there's a siren going by, but the physicality of the journey that these ranchers and these cowboys are taking, and it's on horseback, and I just find that so enjoyable to read. A proper adventure kind of novel. I think they're great. And yeah, Cormac McCarthy just sort of writes with a huge respect for that landscape as well, and love of it. And some of the scenes that he describes are so beautiful. But yeah, I think I wouldn't start with this for any Cormac McCarthy reading. I think that I would start with No Country for Old Men still, if you're interested in getting into him. But yeah, I really loved it, and I will definitely get around to reading the other two in that trilogy. I'm so conscious about how long this video is going to be now, but you have all said that you want a long video, so here we go. At the moment, I'm reading The Door by Magda Szabo, enjoying very much, and I'm listening to The Stand by Stephen King, which is great. I've said this before, but if you find it hard to concentrate on listening to books, I do, my mind wanders. Stephen King is a great place to start, proper storytelling stories, loads of dialogue. They have great people reading. I don't know who is reading this one, but it's great. He's doing a great job of it. So yeah, that's where I'm at with reading. My TBR is coming out of my ears. It's insane. It's a week today until my operation as well, so I've got hopefully lots of reading time on the horizon, and there's so many books I want to read right now. I'm in a phase where every book is leading me to the next, if I just can't wait to get my teeth into more and more. And I've already had a really strong reading year, which I'm very pleased about. Anyway, I'm going to shut up, and I shall speak to you all soon.